Suzanne Durham, last speakers, unless anyone else would like to address us.
Good morning, Board. Eddie McAllister is a distinguished veteran community leader and advocate for people in our community, and unfortunately he could not be here, but it's my privilege to read his words to you. He wanted to point out that we are approaching Juneteenth, which is now a national holiday celebrating the Emancipation Proclamation, freedom from slavery. During slavery, the N-word was referred to and connected to human property as being owned by another. Therefore, the expression, my N-word-er. The N-word is a word of multiple expressions in the Black community. It is used as a word of respect, a word of love, a word of positivity, as well as a word of negative connotation. That spelling ends with an A. Different cultures speak in code. Some cultures have their own form of language. It is a language the locals speak when communicating with one another. They have words that can also be offensive depending on the intent behind the words and who is using those words. If your intentions are bad, then the action itself is bad. I find it interesting to see how others not in the Black community and its culture use the N-words with complete ignorance to the word's subject matter and the two similar variations ending in an A and with the ER. However, most cultures, especially of the white community, choose to use the N-word variation ending with the ER to insult and to degrade those of the Black indigenous descent. In closing, it is always the intent behind the use of both. I hope through this unfortunate chain of events referring to the use of N-words, we all can learn to be a bit more sensitive and careful with the words we choose to use, because it is imperative that we become more respectful and responsible adults, doing our parts to bring about change. Though we may agree to disagree on various issues, let's wake up Reading, let's wake up Shasta County. And since I have a little bit more time, I also want to address the board. It is so disappointing to me to see a board chair who is supposed to act like a leader go and dig through somebody's social media channel, or however you got that video from 8 years ago, of a man in his 20s making a song at home, to try to compare that and change the narrative and gasp, let's go to the news with that. That is absolutely ridiculous and immature. And I hope you know that so many people saw through that and see through you. Now, you can go and ask for apologies, and the sarcastic apology is the one that you deserve, because that was absolutely ridiculous. And thank you for showing me that you've never seen a rap song, you've never had a real friend who is a Black person, you've never engaged with that community. You have shown me that you are racist by what you said and how you acted. Or at the very least, if you are not racist, you're incredibly disingenuous. And you own that, you sleep with that, that's fine. But we see it, we see you. And why don't you just stop bringing it up? It doesn't need to be in the news. You don't need to keep digging. You're just making yourself look worse, and you're making people like Eddie McAllister have to explain basic things to you.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.